Welcome to Puzzler's Paradise. This is going to be the first one. I think we're going to look at a few of Mr. Garcia's puzzles. I don't know if you guys heard him. He's quite a famous composer. And hopefully we will get to the long ones, the ones that have 20 to 30 moves. Those ones are quite fun. Yeah. Straightforward, very few sidelines, but a lot of moves to calculate. So you have to kind of visualize everything, and well, we're going to try to visualize as many moves as we can. But this first one is a little bit easier, I guess. Quite straightforward. Not a lot of sidelines, so think about it for a few minutes. Try to understand your candidate moves, and then we're going to go with the main line. White to move? White to move, yeah. I think all of them, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be white to move. Unless, no, all of them are white to move. So the first candidate is probably Bishop B4, sure. Bishop B4, absolutely. I think you said previously Bishop C2. Yeah. So, I mean, checks we should always consider first, yeah? Very rarely do we see this type of long studies beginning with checks, but Bishop C2 definitely should be considered. The problem is that after King B5, among other things, yeah, we simply cannot continue. We don't have any clear continuation to put more pressure on the black king. That's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to somehow find a way to trap the black king.
What does black do after bishop?
That's, I mean, after bishop e4, that's the question. What does black do? And the beautiful thing about studies is that you also have to find defenses. So it trains both your attacking skills and your defensive skills. So give it a shot. He has only one move. King b5 is losing on the spot. After, so bishop e4, king b5. Knight d6, discovery check, yeah? Knight d6, c d6, bishop takes a8, and that's it. So that's not good. Queen e8, absolutely. Well, it's easy to get to that conclusion. Bishop e4 threatens. That's not the biggest threat. Bishop c6 is checkmate in one move after bishop e4, right? So bishop e4 threatening bishop c6. Also threatening knight c5, but bishop c6 just kills the game on the spot. So there's three ways, at least as many as I can count, to defend against bishop c6. One of them is queen a6, which is easily refuted after knight c5. One of them is king b5, which we've already seen, knight d6, and the other one is queen e8. I think the last one stands. So let's look at queen e8. And I'm going to play the moves all the way until queen e8 because the hard part only begins now. How do you get the black king all the way to c6?
Bishop to c2 check.
Okay, now king b5.
a4.
a4. Now I can go king b4.
You can go king b4.
For example, or king a6.
Or a6, yeah.
Or b6. In general, one thing that we have to notice is that if the black king gets to the dark squares, especially b6, if we play a4, b4, he gets away, he escapes. Because we have a very nice grip on the light squares due to our bishop. Nevertheless, the dark squares are
Knight to
quite
E6.
unstable. Knight e6 here. I'm not going to take with the queen.
You gotta take with the pawn.
Yes.
Okay, never mind.
Yes, and that doesn't change much. You can easily refute it because it just doesn't change much in the position. Again, I take with the knight. I'm not going to take with the queen, obviously. Or I cannot take the bishop on e4 because the bishop on e4 is indirectly protected. If you take on e4, knight c5 comes all the time. Bishop c2 was the right move. So we're going to start with bishop c2. King to b5. Take it all the way until the end. d6. But then I take with a pawn. Right? So that square is mined. We cannot go on there. Pawn a4, check, king b4.
Bishop to a4.
And I escape on the dark squares.
But bishop after a4, he has to take it, doesn't he?
Sure. I think you're onto something. Bishop to a4. Try to calculate that all the way until the end.
King
Calculate that all the way until the end, Arjun. It's not finishing immediately.
to a6, but then you lose your queen.
Try to find, that's the beauty of it. Try to find black's defenses as well. You're not done, Arjun. I guarantee you're not done. I guarantee you haven't found the best defense for black. I'm sure you saw the idea. Let everybody try to understand what the idea is after bishop a4.
Oh, bishop a4.
He has to take.
He has to take.
Exactly. Bishop a4, king takes a4, and now we go knight from g5 to e4. We're threatening what?
Oh, yeah, threatening mate, yeah.
You're threatening mate in one move
Yeah.
with knight c3, right?
Oh, yeah.
So now black has a few options to defend. One of them is king b5, in which case we have knight d6. And now we have two knights fighting for that square. So knight d6, c takes d6, knight takes d6, and that's a fork.
He's still winning.
And that endgame is winning. Let's just see.
Oh, if he takes it, it's a fork. Yeah.
Okay, he can go somewhere.
Forks.
Right. And now it's easy to assess this endgame because we have already two passers. And this one on h6 is simply a monster. Yeah. It just keeps in check his knight. This knight doesn't go anywhere. And then we're basically a piece up. And he doesn't have any threatening passers. So this is easy to assess. It's winning for white. In this position, though, obviously black has better defenses. Yes?
Queen e5?
Sure, queen e5. And then you do what?
Oh, because he gets the check, he can move that knight.
So knight e2.
Do you play g6 f4 queen e4 e3?
Exactly. So right now we just have to basically carry away with our plan and just take on f4, attack the queen, force it to move somewhere. It doesn't have a lot of squares because she has to stay close to the square on c3. Now once again, if you take on e4, I go knight c5, I regain my queen, and that's a winning endgame. So you have to go queen d4. It's the only place where you can keep contact with the square on c3. And now we just simply continue attacking it. And there's nothing he can do. If he goes to d3, the problem is there's another fork, yeah? And there's no other squares to defend c3.
2 knights are amazing.
2 knights, powerful knights, and the knight on h8 is not doing anything. So, all right, that was the warm-up. White to move. Still Mr. Garcia. Quite forced, but still you have to calculate around 11 moves.
I want an easy one.
There's no easy ones in this class.
I want easy knight e6, king.
This is an easy one, you said.
Oh no, if it goes to g8, I go to
I mean, knight e6, sure.
knight e6 with
It's-
e8 down bishop e3.
Bishop e3. Okay, that's a good good try for sure. And then I take. I take on a6.
Knight c7.
Yeah, you have to calculate. Rook takes, knight c7, king d7. So what he's saying is knight e6, king e8, bishop e3, rook takes a6, check. Sure, but is this endgame?
This is tough.
Isn't the knight trapped?
Of course it's trapped, but are you getting in time? Okay, show me how.
Oh, he's going to play a4, a5, a4, a3. Rock on the bishop. Maybe.
Actually, I should have played. I think you got me this one this time. Yeah, I made a mistake. Because now you get with your king all the way down in time. So in this position, I think I'm playing a5 now.
Good. Now can you play?
Now you can play bishop h6. And you put your bishop to a3, and then you just bring your king. So, I don't think so. But bishop e3 is definitely a good try. Let's see why it doesn't win. Okay, I also have knight f4 as an idea. Potential idea in this position. Yeah, why don't I try knight f4?
Can you play king f5?
Okay. Knight takes knight, I think he wants, actually it works, yeah. Knight takes knight,
a7?
bishop a7, and you think you beat me this endgame?
I don't know.
Let's see. It's interesting. It's actually a very interesting end. I think you have to take, right?
Does bishop e6 7 trade?
Ah, that's even better. So I'm going to go here now.
Oh, work.
What contact is pawn a7?
Oh, a7.
a7 and the game is over, right? a7 and the pawn promotes. So after bishop b6, this is just losing. Or not. Let's see. Is this endgame winning?
Yeah, it's a win.
Yeah, cabbage.
How is a win?
D3. I mean, D7. Oh.
Okay,
Wait, no,
keep
but
going.
that's a draw.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
you have to play king D5.
Okay. Yeah. And now if I go a4,
Then king C4.
king c4. And now king b4, and then you take with the king. And if I go a3 here, then you just simply take, and I'm not connected to your pawn. King d7, you protect, and that's a win. Okay. So you found some interesting idea. Still, I think knight f4 should be the refutation.
Is it the draw?
Oh, I did have another idea, but that shouldn't work for me.
Well, after knight f4, bishop f4, rook e6.
Let's try rook a6 again. I have a feeling somehow you tricked me. Ah, I think I got it. No, I didn't. What I was calculating was a5, king takes here, a3, and now the problem is you have this move. Well, you're threatening bishop b4. And if I go king c5, you go bishop h6.
Oh, could you go bishop h6 first?
You can do that on the other side as well, yeah.
Okay.
So you can go bishop h6, you force me to go on e7, and then you go on this side.
Oh, okay.
The point being, you just have to reach the a3 f8 diagonal. If you manage to get on a3, you're winning.
Can the black give up the knight on g1 and then bring the king up to stop the bishop from attacking the pawn?
From here, you mean?
Yeah, king to bishop, knight to g8.
Knight to g1, yeah?
Yeah, g1, bishop takes,
Mm-hmm.
and now bring the king up. Can he stop the bishop from getting to a square to attack that eighth line?
Right, but it's kind of the same thing, though, I think. The same idea. I'm going to go bishop e3.
King C4.
Yes, and now the thing is, I think I'm going to go this way.
King,
Oh, wait.
king b3, and then I will trade the pawns.
Correct. No, you were right the first time. We can go king d5. We were completely right. Yeah, and now just king b3. I don't know why we went a4. And I don't know why we stopped here. We said king f5. I said king f5, and I was like, oh, it's a draw. What I was thinking was bishop c1 here. I forgot that we have king c2. Very simple. Okay, yeah. So if you cannot get your bishop on the f8 a3 diagonal, then it's just a draw.
So my knight to g.
Knight to g1 works as well. I think.
Not for me.
I think knight
I
g1.
got first time, but I didn't calculate it.
Yeah.
I
Well, so if the king can defend that square and keep the bishop out, then you got a shot.
I'm not sure. Does this work? Because we're one tempo down now. That's the problem. But I think it works as well. It should work. Yeah. Yeah, it works. Knight g1 works as well. Okay. So we've seen why bishop e3 doesn't complete the task. Maybe we can do something else.
So is the knight move the first one the correct move?
Knight e6 is the correct move.
Is the correct move?
Knight e6 is the correct beginning. King to e8. And now you have to be a bit more precise. The idea is very similar, but there's different ways of achieving the same concept. Yes.
A takes b7,
Rook takes b7.
and then d7.
Rook takes d7.
No, D7 first.
d7 first. Very good. The idea is good. You just have to change the move order. So yes, d7 first. King takes d7. Now we take on b7. He's forced to take because he cannot defend b8 promotion in any other way.
And then knight.
And then knight c5, right?
Yes.
And then we go here, and now
Bishop E3.
all right. Is it over? It's not over. So try to find the best defense for black now.
Is it black too?
Now if king comes, then the king comes to b3, bishop c1, king b3. If king c6, king f5, king d5, king g4.
Mm-hmm. Go on. King g4, and then
Then king d4,
king e4.
bishop.
I'm attacking your bishop in the same time that you attack my knight. If you move the bishop, my knight escapes.
So that's
If you take my knight, then I take your bishop, and your pawn is on b2, and I'm in control. Yeah, I'm going to catch your pawn. Maybe you have to adjust your variation along the way. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's wrong, but maybe you can find a better move along the way. But that's
White to move here?
black to move after bishop e3. Bishop e3 was the last move. So king c6 is obviously
king c6,
a step in the right direction.
king h5,
King
king
a6.
King d5,
king g4.
that is the same thing. If you go king h5 or king f5 and then to g4, that's the same thing.
Yeah, as long as black can win that pawn, he's fine.
Hmm?
As long as black can win the pawn, he's fine.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. If he can, yeah. If he gets to the b pawn, then he's going to be perfectly fine.
King b5, then
b4, king c4,
bishop c5.
knight f2.
Oh,
My knight escapes. Knight goes to d3. You cannot take my knight because your b4 pawn is hanging.
King f6. I'm gonna get to the pawn.
So I'm gonna go king c6. King f6, king the same thing. King d5. My plan as black is to attack your pawn, force you to defend it with your bishop, and then just move my knight.
what about that pawn d3 after king f5, pawn d3,
Okay, you're onto something.
king f5, king d5,
And now,
pawn d3.
pawn b3, yeah?
Ah, keeps him out of that
We're,
square.
we're keeping him out. Is it over? No. So find the best defense for black. To be honest, it's kind of forced. He doesn't have a lot of ways of trying to defend. Yes, Arjun.
King C6.
King c6, of course. How to continue after that?
King g,
No, King E4.
King b5,
Then King G3.
King b4,
King C2.
and how is that position?
knight is trapped.
The knight is trapped.
And my king is not active, but I think that should.
That's a win. That's a win. We don't have to take the knight. Very good. Hmm? Very good. Yeah. King c6, and now king g4 would be a terrible blunder, going for the material, because after knight king b5, if you take the knight, I go king b4,
And then
draw. And if you try to defend this square with bishop d2, defend the entry, then I just simply go knight f2. My knight escapes, easy draw. So after king c6, you have to understand that this knight doesn't really amount to much. All I have to do is just defend this pawn. So now I'm going to go back. King b5, and I'm right in time to defend the pawn. And this is easy win. We're just simply going to take the king all the way down to b8, and then we're going to checkmate him with the bishop.
Checkmate with the bishop?
Well, actually, not necessarily checkmate, but just... Actually, yes, checkmate. We can go something like this. The knight can never move, yeah? And I think the easier way is to put him into Zugzwang. Now the knight moves, and then we go bishop f4, checkmate. Yeah?
I like that. That's cute.
I mean, we have plenty of ways to do it. We can play bishop e5 and then bishop d4 and then bishop e5 and then just promote. But I think king b6 is just nicer. So it's easy win. Okay, good job. Good job, guys. And let's go to the 20-something, 28 moves. That's it. That's all. We'll take it step by step.
With both bishops and a queen, there's 28 moves in here.
28 moves to win. Queen takes pawn. Good job. You found the first move. King takes a3 by force. If you go king b1, it's losing on the spot. Queen b3, queen b2, queen takes b2, game over, yeah? So king takes a3. Queen e3 check. You see you're on the right track. Now it's probably going to be a little bit more difficult to choose black's best defense. We're going to have to take them one by one. King a4 should be losing. Let's see how. Bishop c6, king b4, queen c5, king b3. That's transposing to the main line. So keep going. King b4, king b3, bishop d5, king b2. Only move. Because if I go king a4, queen c4, king a3, queen b3. So let's get there. Now if he goes king a4, queen c4, king a3, queen b3, checkmate. So he has to go king to b2, only move.
And white can't trade anything off in this position.
No, we have to find a way to keep the checks going, because if he manages to defend, then we're just a lot of material down. Yeah, he needs one move. He needs to get his king to safety, and that's it. Game over.
Queen d4.
Sure. Let's continue.
b8.
King b1. Only move. Otherwise, you lose your queen. Queen where? d3.
No, why not king b2?
Okay, king c1. Queen d3, king c1. So after king b1, maybe we should do something else. Try to think logically what you could potentially be getting along the way. Maybe what you could be capturing along the way with checks. If you take my knight and you leave I mean, it doesn't matter actually. You don't have to leave any pawn on the board. That's just going to be a draw. Or worse, if you leave too many pawns, then you might be losing. But yeah, queen and bishop versus queen is not a win. It's a draw. Yes, Arjun.
Can you put queen b5?
In this position.
Yeah.
No, it's
Queen b5 and then if he
I'm gonna go king c3,
king c3, then queen c4,
king d2,
then queen queen for queen d4.
no,
nope,
no, the other one is queen d4, queen d1, that's a
queen d2, queen d4, well actually queen d4, king b1, queen d1, king b2, queen d2.
king e3, then king takes pawn check.
Sure. I think
Queen c3 check.
I think king b1 is a little bit better.
Yeah, but then king a2, then check.
We'll take on a5 and we'll see what happens after that. But let's I want to go king b1. I don't want to go king a3. King a3 is the worst defense. Is the worst defense. So queen d4, king b1. Now I'm going to go here. What do you do now?
d4,
I don't know.
then
You tell me what the difference is. It's a good question though. What the difference is? You should ask that yourself. And then you'll find the answer. What he was saying was actually quite accurate. So he was starting with queen e1. The idea is to keep the king next to the queen by force, and in the meantime start farming for your pawns. But the question is why? Why would I want to take that f5 pawn? Does it matter?
to get the bishop.
Right,
Well, imagine this position without the f5 pawn.
exactly, that was my main earlier, when I thought the pawns were going the other way.
You play bishop e4 and it's a checkmate in one move, yeah?
Yeah.
So now you have kind of a logical idea behind whatever you've been doing for the past 20 moves. So we go queen e1, yeah? Queen e5, we've already said that. He's forced to go king b1, take the pawn. Now I'm going to go king c1. Check again. Now I'm going to go king b2.
Queen b5.
No, queen e2. Yeah, queen e2.
Well, which one? So again, it's a question. Pretty sure one of them doesn't work.
Queen b5.
It's queen b5 or queen e2? Try to make that decision for yourself.
I think
Queen e1, of course. Queen e1, no. I mean, we'll keep on checking. We cannot allow him to start checking us, yeah? Don't allow him to start checking us, because that's at least a draw. After bishop e4, I have a feeling we might be losing, because he has so many extra pawns, right?
Yep.
So queen e1 has to be played. King b2,
queen b. Oh, no.
queen d2, absolutely. And now we got the same position, but there's no more pawn on f5, right? So king b1 is no longer an option. I have to go king a3. So right now, finally we got him where we want to. Now we have to calculate once again. Let's finish him off with precise play. There are still 12 moves to go. So it's not over yet.
Queen d3 in this position?
No, I think after queen takes a5, which is the right move, king b2, queen d2, king a3. So we got the same position, but forget about the pawn on a5. It's no longer on the board.
King C5.
All right, let's put it on the board.
Okay.
King C5.
King c5, queen g1,
And then King B5.
queen b6. Thank you. Draw? Actually, maybe I want to play. I think I want to play. I think I want to play for a win. It's been logical all along, guys. Continue on the same logic.
Queen to a5 check.
That's where we came from. Queen, king to
And
b2.
this way bishop comes in and b3, right?
No, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
We already had this position.
Oh, okay.
So we can repeat it if we want, but it's not going to help
Always
us.
repeat.
You can repeat to gain some time if you're... I I doubt you will find yourself in such a position ever, but...
Queen D3.
Queen where?
D3.
Queen d3, king to b4.
And then
I want to escape.
king, no, queen C4.
Queen c4. Ah, you tricked me. Did you trick me? You might have. Yes, you did trick me. Because now if I go king a5, you do what?
King A5, then,
Wasn't it a Queen
king
B3?
A5, queen C5, right?
So king b4 was my mistake, because now after king a5, so king b4, queen c4, king a5, queen c5. And now I have to go on a6. If I go on a4, then queen takes a7. And that's just winning the queen.
So what happens after queen D3?
King b2.
And then queen B3?
King c1. I was a bit too adventurous with my king. So I'm going to stay next to my queen. Well, we have to do something else. We have to take that pawn from a7. We've been taking all the possible pawns.
Yeah, Queen E3 should be better.
Let's try to find a way to get that pawn by force.
Yeah, queen d3, number one.
Queen e3, king b2.
And then queen D4.
Queen d4, king b1.
And then
Bishop e4, king a2. Now we got the pawn. Queen takes a7, yeah? All right, we got there. Stage number, I don't remember. Stage number, we got all the important pawns.
Sure.
wait, I have a question.
Continue.
Is this still the king A4 line?
This is the main line. I'm not gonna start from the beginning. This is move 20 something.
Okay, queen d4, check.
Continue.
Bishop.
Now you have to ask yourself what?
That's why I'm not checking.
Why in the world did we take the pawn on a7? Why did we take that pawn? You were on the right track. Queen to d4, king a2, bishop d5, king b1, you've had that position before. The only difference was that you had a pawn on a7 and a pawn on a5.
Yeah, minus 2 pawns.
Now it's minus 2 pawns.
d1.
King b2, queen d1, king b2.
So queen d3,
We can put him once again in that key position
where you can checkmate on f4.
with the king on a3 and the queen on d2. This is the key position. Now what's the difference without the pawn on a7?
Make him stay
In the
away.
A5?
Now you go 4 plus 5.
With the without the pawn on a7 or a5.
No.
What about king c5?
Queen D3?
King c5, okay, interesting idea. What's the difference?
And that is the squares where the
Correct. King c5, queen g1, king b5. Now with the pawn on a7, he would have had queen b6 check.
Oh, yeah. I remember that position.
Right now he doesn't. Queen b4 is a checkmating threat, and there's not really a good way to defend against it. We can go here, but then the king hides, and now he can safely resign. That's it. The whole mechanism was just to find the right way to check the king in order to like take all the pawns on the way and then return to the key position.
And get the king to cut off the other squares.
And then
Correct.
And then with the king, and
That's
then,
deep.
Yeah, it's
and then they cannot check.
So that was Mr. Garcia torture. 601. Class is over, guys.
good job. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.